I thank you now, and I pray that you'd go with us and help us to be agreeable even when we don't agree. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. You may be seated. Our first item is recognitions. All right, so tonight we do have some 226 awards going the extra mile. We'll turn it to you, though. You going to take care of that, or?
Oh, Mr. Kenny is actually going to take care of it tonight.
So we all know we had a hurricane come through, and there was a lot that our community went through with that. And Ms. McCann reached out to me to see if there was something we could do to get some students into the community to help with the cleanup. So I reached out to Coach Pena, Ms. Jones, Ms. York, talking about our student athletes, student council, National Honor Society, things like that. How could we get these kids over here to help? So Coach Pena, from that point, just ran with it. And when I showed up at the Civic Center to help, and Coach Pena, and I knew he would be there, he had all of these coaches, not just putting stuff on Sports U, not communicating, asking kids to come up and clean. They came up with their gear, with their positive can-do, ready to clean up attitude. So when Coach Pena started the Ride for the Sea, Ride for Columbia, he's expanded that, and it's Ride for the Community. And the fact that they were out there being seen, leading a crew. So each one of these coaches had a crew of kids with them, and they went to a spot and did the cleanup, and then they would move on to the next one, both in West Columbia and Brazoria. And so we wanted to recognize them for giving their time and efforts and leading by example, showing kids how you step up and help your community. So I just wanted to make sure that we all appreciate them and give them that recognition. So Coach Pena, our athletic director, if you'll come on up. I was going to have him introduce all of the coaches. He has since told me that he's lost his voice. So,
Coaches school?
No.
So this next guy hasn't even officially been employed. Well, we approved his hire. His contract hasn't started yet, but here he is in the community leading a group. So Coach Bardwell, if he'll come out, he'll be doing football and track, correct?
And teaching at the high school, correct? Yep.
English 4 at the high school. Sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Coach Picard is our autistic teacher. So he teaches in the autism room with our high needs students. He coaches high school baseball and high school football.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Coach Brown teaches 8th grade history at the junior high. He coaches football and basketball down there and high school baseball.
Appreciate it. Thanks, sir.
Thank you so much.
Coach Miss G.
Good job. Thank you.
She's our IPC teacher at the high school. She does volleyball, basketball, and softball at the high school.
Girl power.
And her father, Coach Mr. G. He also works with high needs students as he's one of our behavior teachers, and he's our tennis coach at the high school. Coach Ryan, he runs our CAP and credit recovery program at the high school. Football and track, correct?
Yes, sir.
Changed some coaching assignments on me, so I'm still trying to. His messages are the ones that you probably saw on Sports U the most. He was really sending that out.
Thank you so much.
Coach Johnson, Coach Willis Johnson.
Good job.
He runs the weight program for both the junior high and the high school, and he's a sped teacher at the high school for us as well as football coach.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Coach Jeremy Johnson, powerlifting coach, football coach, and he's one of our sped teachers here at the high school. He's one of the inclusion teachers.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
His better half, Miss Lacey Johnson. She's 8th grade math and algebra teacher at the junior high. Volleyball, did you say basketball at the junior high?
Volleyball track.
Volleyball track, and then our new swim coach as well. And Coach Jamon Lewis, one of our history teachers for the high school, football, basketball, track.
Thank you, sir.
So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your help leading by example, showing kids what it means to step up for your community, put in the work. So thank you very much.
I'll do it better. It's all guys in the back.
There we go. Innuendo. All right, 1, 2, 3. Great, thank you guys.
It's fun. They'll be graduate. I know.
Coach Bean, I just want to say that y'all must have made an impression with your students. My wife was out cleaning up, picking up some sticks, and a young man had to be an athlete. I mean, looked like it, but anyway, he said, "Can I help you, ma'am?" Because I can be back with a bunch of people in just a minute. We'll help you clean this whole yard up. So they went out of the way to ask people, so good job on y'all's part.
No, Cody, we don't have campus communication.
Okay. Anybody sound citizen to be heard, Chief? Nope. So we'll go to the business side, the reports, excuse me. First is maintenance report.
What a show, huh? Can't say the first word. We didn't have any severe damage. Obviously, a lot of trees, and thank you, Mr. Cresta, for coming and helping us at the junior high. Brought a skid steer up and helped haul a lot of the trees that were down after we cut them up and piled them up for us on the weekend. So, a lot of appreciation for you on that.
If you want me to get that other one when it dries up, or I'll come and get it and stack it up, but
We'll arm wrestle for it.
ain't no sense trying to man it.
We'll tackle that bridge when we get to it.
Okay.
So, however, obviously, without power, we lost climate control and the humidity's high, so we do have some old and mill growth issues throughout campuses. We're identifying each and every one of them. For those of y'all who were here when we had the high school flood, we had that group Belfort come in and help us restore that. We've also reached out to those to see if they can provide some help with us in sanitation and getting rid of this and just some inhibitors and everything to slow that stuff down. They're working through that process. Now, right now, we have identified some stuff here, a few things here at the high school, the new 6th grade building in Wild Peach. We could, while they're here, with y'all's blessings, go ahead and just have them, hey, let's go ahead and do the entire district, come through and spray their chemicals or their treatments. Any other hot spots that need care, we can work on that. But that's kind of a question that I wanted to get some input from you guys to see how y'all felt about it. We could probably handle it, but
I'd rather you let them do it, professionally do it, and take care of it personally.
that's what I was trying to say. To err on the side of caution, I'd rather have somebody that specializes in this, can tackle it, take care of it, so that we feel safe. We've done everything for our staff and students to make sure they're in a healthy environment. Like I said, not much damages other than some trees, a couple little things, gutters down in there, minor things, but we were blessed to, as soon as it was over, we hit the ground running and started cleaning things up and trying to put the pieces back together.
Power surge today.
Pardon? Yeah, we did now, and this morning we had a meeting with Jamal, our typical OAC meeting, and in the middle of it, I'll get a text from Chief Sanders that, hey, there's something weird going on over here, followed by Miss Howard. Hey, we got smoke pouring out of the AC vents. I built abandoned ship here, run over there. One of the AC motors, whatever weird power surge happened, burn up a motor and some drives. We've got that isolated, parts coming, trying to get that back together. Whatever it was really weird because not only did that, it set a transformer down the road on the utility pole fire. Well, I can't tell you what happened, but I know it was weird. So that was another blow to the gut.
I wouldn't say it's associated. It's got to be associated somehow or another.
It has to be. It affected quite a bit of this side of town over there. We didn't notice it here in that meeting, but They did. What else was I gonna tell you guys?
I just want to say that God was on our side because the summit guy from the fire department was on the premises when the fire started, and he ran and got a fire extinguisher and put the fire out.
Wow.
And if he, I mean, what would have been worse if he had not been there? Because he was working on the fire alarm system and ran to find if there was a fire, because we thought it was related to the power going on. And he ran, found the fire, got a fire extinguisher, and put it out.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a blessing that he was on site. He was there to do our annual fire extinguisher, or excuse me, fire alarm inspection. And he,
That don't happen too often.
right, and he is with West Columbia Fire Department as well. So he was instantly radioed in, hey, I got it, I put it out, cancel EMS, call up the cavalry, we're good to go.
That's what
That was
everybody
definitely
showed up.
Of course, high school projects and continuing on, you know, obviously the storm and some rain is, I'm not gonna say set us back, but it's just hindered progress, but they can bounce back. Last thing I want to talk to you about, on last meeting, we discussed the water well option at Wild Peach. Have gotten some figures back from Felder out of Angleton. I've reached out to Goolsby. He's interested, but he's backing off until we get some professional engineering plans in front of him. So that would be $7,600 up front just for somebody to say, hey, this is what you need. This is TCEQ's requirements. Here's where you have to put it, this far away from here, there. So there's a lot of bureaucracy and red tape there involved. Mr. Felders, he's already given us a quote. He said all that stuff will be included. But I'm still working the process to see where Mr. Goolsby's at. But that is a work in progress, and it's this whole storm thing kind of set everybody back. Otherwise, I think I would probably have some more pertinent numbers for you at this point. But
So Felder would handle the engineering and everything then?
yeah, they contract out the engineering and making sure that it's up to, you know, TCEQ standards and their requirements and restrictions and regulations and all that good stuff.
So apparently he's aware of what would be required,
Yes.
and I'm guessing the Goolsbys aren't really as knowledgeable to.
I'm not gonna say more. I'm not gonna say not as knowledgeable. They just want to do things a little bit more by the book. Whereas I think Mr. Felder is like, I already know this rope. I've been down this before. I already know how this kind of works.
So when you come in, it's Felder's looking at doing a design, what we call a design build project, meaning the architecture's included in the price.
Yeah.
Whereas some people say, no, I want plans and I'll bid your plans.
Right. Yeah.
I understand that, I'm just saying, we're kind of getting in a time crunch, and I don't know how much longer we can give the Goolsbys if they don't want to, I mean, I think we need to put it in their court, will you bid it and bid the engineering in it, and, you know, if they want to give a 5% allowance in case the engineer, I would think they have some idea in their mind what the specs would be.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think so.
And they
I
can say
think
we're
it's
gonna be.
more, I agree with you, Jonathan. I think it's more, definitely, Felder probably does more commercial wells like this. Goolsby can drill a perfectly fine well for us, hands down. I would just say that, maybe get back with Goolsby and say, what would a well cost to put in, you know, or I guess they don't even know what size, or do they? That's the problem, they don't.
Well, we're kind of basing it on what we have here. 6 inch, however
Is
deep.
that 6 inch?
Yeah. It's a 6 inch casing with a 2 or 3 inch well. So
I agree. I think a 4 is
I
plenty.
don't see where a 6 inch is needed, but I might be wrong, but a 4 inch, I'm telling you.
I mean, these RV parks that they're putting in, it's 100 and something spots are 4 inch wells. So, was Felder looking at a 6 inch, or he was? Okay.
they were both willing to match what we had existing.
Okay.
Hey, that's plenty. You're covered.
Yeah.
Might be a good idea just to ask him a question if he thinks a 4 inch could take care of that campus.
Okay.
You know, and just have that conversation with him. Because the 4 inches, there's nothing to sneeze at.
Given that, is that thing metered at all anywhere where we can gauge?
Yeah. I have to report.
So you can give some numbers to where they can look at the flow.
Yeah,
and everything
used
like
to
that.
just.
I would definitely think when they go to engineering, we can say, hey, if we can engineer a 4 inch, we want to engineer a 4 inch. You know, but the engineer's going to dictate which way we have to go, whether 4 or 6, I would think.
as well as whatever TCEQ's requirements are. Now that may be why we're at 6 inch, because it's a commercial property that,
It could be.
I don't know, it's out of my wheelhouse, but I will ask questions to try to find out.
I would like the Goolsby to have a chance to bid, but I think we just need to put it in their court and say, wintertime constraints, we're not gonna, since we have a bid, they're gonna include it in the bid, we would like them to give us something like that. And like I say, I don't care if they have some kind of variance in their bid that says, if they come back and say it needs this or that, that we could compare apples to apples when we get the engineering or whatever, if they win the bid. I don't know how long it takes to drill a well and set this all up, but I mean, we're a month away from school, or less than a month away from school.
Oh, no, yeah, you're gonna be 4 to 6
You're
months.
several months even in the,
Are you?
in the permit process.
Okay.
So it wouldn't happen this summer regardless, even if we.
I thought you were trying to do this, okay.
No.
Yeah, engineering loan's gonna take 2 to 3 months. I
So
would-
do we
guess.
have to have a contractor to apply for the, given that it's a commercial type, can we ask for the permit belongs to the district, or do we have to have somebody who's licensed to recommend it? Do
I
we
don't
know?
know. I don't know that.
I mean,
We'll figure that
I
out.
would think you have to have engineering plans to file for the
Yeah,
license.
that's what I was gonna say. I wonder if we just go ahead and just talk to Felder and go ahead and, I mean, I'm not saying use Felder, I'm saying have him take the engineering out of it, and we go ahead and get with the engineering and get that going no matter what. I mean, no matter who we go with, because then I think that gives you a better
Basis for somebody to bid on.
Yeah.
Levels playing field.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we spend $7,600 if that's what we think it is. Then we'll know for sure whether it's a 4-inch or 6-inch based off engineering. And if it comes back as a 4, Felder could rebid it, we could get them both to rebid at that point in time.
I'm sure there's some engineering firms here locally that can engineer that water well.
But, so I do have a separate, matter of fact, Mr. Goolsby recommended, and that's all he does. He's third party, not affiliated or associated, and that's all he does is, look, this is, I give you the PE stamp on it, I design it, make sure that it's within whatever requirements, and then from there, you're open bid with it.
Could you maybe check with him and see what his time frame would be like, on getting the engineering plans done? I know it takes a while, because once they get sent to TCQ, it takes them a while to get approved through the state, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're looking at least a month with the state, if not longer.
After they're engineered.
Julie's not here. I say let's go ahead and spend the money.
I mean, I don't know about you, I don't have a problem getting the engineering done. Get it
We're gonna
going.
use it, whoever we use with, so I don't have a problem with us going ahead and paying that up front. Yeah. We at least know what we're doing and we're using, we have an idea what's going on.
Sure. So what I'll do is I'll reach back out to him, get him on board, and then I'll call Mr. Felder and say, hey, rebid it without your engineering.
Or just tell him where we're at, just tell him where.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be transparent with them. I don't have a problem with that.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
So if we're gonna go that route and not do the design build, then we'll have to put out an RFP for it.
once we get the specs.
Once we get the specs down, we'll put out an RFP with basically it's 3-week timeline, post it in the paper twice. Right, and give people, and they'll both have something hard to bid on.
All right, well, I'll get that going, and then let Mr. Felder know where we're at. and
Yeah, there's time.
Take that back to Mr. Goolsby and say, okay, now, here's where we're at, and we'll go from there.
So the question would be, you might ask Dale too about any engineers in your mind. If there's some difference, right, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get a price from both of them. Yeah, if it's 7,600, the other's 10 grand, go with 76. I mean,
Yeah.
they're both gonna put the PE stamp on it, that's what we're looking for.
I mean, I would assume in this business, everybody knows everybody locally, so it wouldn't, shouldn't be a problem.
Do you know who Goolsby recommended for an engineer?
Mark Harkness,
Never heard of them.
he's out of somewhere near El Campo, I believe he said. I could be mistaken on that. I mean, I've had so many names and cities go through my brain. I don't even know where I'm at. But, okay, but outside of that, I don't think I have much to update you guys on unless you have any specific questions, comments, concerns.
How's our energy audit thing going, and any more on that?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So what they've done, this latest deal is just after the storm, they had a technician come in and use their mega meter to determine, make sure that the existing sport lighting lines are sufficient. There's not any kind of degradation in there that could cause problems down the line.
Baseball and football?
Yes, softball, baseball, football.
Softball, baseball, football.
All three. They're compiling that report. He's gonna pass it back to E3 so that they can plug their numbers in and keep moving forward. I mean, apparently, so this is a longer and more detailed process than what I thought. I mean, I really figured it was, need 10 laps and let's go. But,
Yeah.
there's a lot to it.
What about surveying? You able to make contact yet?
On,
The 2 pieces of property?
yes, I've already put in a requisition for it.
What about the one that we were given that when we went through construction, or planning for construction, did that survey help us out over here?
PBK did have a survey that had already identified that. Now, Dolan.
Are they gonna mark it for us?
They will take that survey and actually stake it out for us.
So we asked them to go ahead, since we have the plans to survey this property here on the corner too. And what we're asking Doyle to do is mark those things clearly so that both property owners can see exactly where the property line is.
Being the baseball field, backside of the baseball field and
The corner of Washington Road. Okay.
Good deal.
that's already in process.
And take pictures so that we know where it's at, future, right?
I'll get hard copies in.
Right.
Outside of that, what else?
All I can think of. Baseball fence, we're holding off till about after hurricane season. We're thinking 1st of October. Right.
Yeah, I don't want to put that up and then.
Right.
Are we still looking at, going up in the middle?
Yeah.
Got it.
8-foot chain link to the, what we call the batter's eye.
Yeah, better not,
And then
yeah.
it'll be wood and it'll go up.
Perfect.
That look nice.
You look good.
Yeah, look nice.
Are we doing like a plastic coated chain link or?
Yes, it's coated.
That black.
Good, that was nice.
Of course, all the wood obviously treated and then we
Yeah,
got
some
after
of that-
it cures, we can paint it whatever color we want.
Yeah, some of that right center field fence got blown down with a hurricane, but I think we've just leaned it back up in the
We've
meantime.
planted some temporary poles and resecured it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Now we still have some other fencing to do, but that was.
Yeah, it needs, I mean, it's gotta get done.
Right.
But, the person that we had negotiated with to do that, we used for some other tennis court fencing at Barrow. And we run up against that $50,000 cap when we have to bid and do RFPs. And so by waiting to the new contract year, it puts us into it, and we can basically start that 50 over again, which will allow us to get that project done without having to go out and do the competitive bidding. Well, we bid it out, we've got prices from people, yeah, but the formal process.
Tennis courts look nice.
Yeah, they do.
Doing a good
I'm
job.
glad when this is all over with. Next big adventure.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about another bond tonight, so get ready. Thank you, Justin.
Thank y'all.
Justin, while you're here, I had talked with the board also about the Wild Peach project we were looking at. So where we centered on was all those storefront areas is basically replacing that bottom panel, right, everywhere. And then rather than taking them out, they're basically going to strip all the weather stripping and all the caulking out and come back and reapply that, make sure the interior drains and any of that are working correct. So Justin, and the one question, I think Ray, you're the one that had it, is that we want to make sure we didn't do something that caused some other kind of problem. And so Justin, I know you, and I think PBK looked at that, and Dromala, and said we were good, right?
Right. As a matter of fact, they've made a second visit there today just for confirmation on a few other things. And so far, everything seems like this is a very feasible project.
Right, perfect. And so I think we're good to go there. And then, so what happened is that there are some, like along the classroom rings, that bottom panel, right, it showed, even like in front of the cafeteria where it doesn't open, all that area would be fixed too, right, to match. And so the whole school would match all the way around.
All the way around.
Wouldn't be a piecemeal, look really good when we get done. Because I want to say that's, what do you call it,
Transite panels.
transite panels, and I think they were orange
They were originally.
when that was installed. And we've kind of painted over them a couple times. And so there are some areas where some of the orange is showing through, but
Because of the composition of that, you can't really paint it. I mean, you can't temporary it, but it doesn't adhere correctly. And so after a couple of years in the heat and everything else, it starts to peel and flake and it's.
we look like we got a good solution for that.
So are we taking those out and putting something in?
Yes. We're taking those out and that's all gonna be covered up with a decorative type metal not expanded metal, but decorative type panels that are metal.
Metal panels?
Yeah. Which will be sealed up, and then a lot more resistance, any kind of intrusions, and water intrusion as well.
What's your thoughts on that, Ray?
I'm good with that.
You are?
Yeah, I mean, because I was just nervous about the weep holes,
Yeah.
you know, letting the water out. You know, a lot of those were designed to have water coming around and go out the bottom of that
Through
seal.
those channels, yeah, condensation or rainwater that drips in there, yeah, there is drain holes, weep holes at the bottom, and those will be making sure that, you know, they tiptoe the tulips around that and keep those clear, so that we still have adequate drainage.
Just curious, when we're going through this energy audit thing, really changing the lights and those things. Do windows qualify for that program?
I don't think so. I think it was just lighting and mechanical.
Okay.
I mean, I can ask that question, but
And my thought is if they qualifies, you know, maybe we just take that whole big thing out, put a whole energy efficient window in there, like you replace at your homes, and get it in the loan and pay it back because of savings from energy, because of the factor you put in the windows or whatever.
I can ask. I do know that we brought Peter to pay Paul for that because all the money that we've already kind of got allocated, you know, we already had a set amount what we were going to be spending for lighting and mechanical. Now, if we add something to that, then we're going to have to, as far as that E3 project goes.
Yeah, the only thing that I remember is when the gentleman came and talked to us, he said we should qualify for like $4.3 million based off of what he was looking at. He had to do the study. And the savings of that, or the savings he projected would get us at like 4.3 millions, but he thought we was only going to take like 3.8 million. So there's like 500,000 extra there with that money.
Okay.
And I may be dead wrong, but that's what I remember in my mind. And so I don't know how much, and windows may cost 500. I don't know how much windows cost. I changed my house a few years ago.
He did say that the loan, we would be up to a certain amount we can borrow, but if it comes in less than that, then we can still borrow up.
Okay.
As long as the project qualifies. So you might ask him
Maybe,
this question.
and you may be right. I won't disregard that.
No, I don't, yeah. But I was just thinking if that may be an option rather than going through this, it would give us more energy efficient and have a solid panel where you don't have something down the road or whatever. But I'm just thinking out of the
I'll
box.
make some phone calls and ask on that also.
You just have to be shatter resistant. We don't want to put no more film on
No,
windows.
if I remember right, because we had Dramala and PBK and us out there looking, and when they were looking at when we're actually talking about the whole thing, the thickness of what they were talking about, the glass, they were very, like, man, that's gonna cost a lot of money to replace something that, they didn't have any concerns about the glass, meaning it was pretty quality, if I remember right.
That, and then they were worried about the thickness of it.
And, yeah,
Glass fitting in that existing
Yeah.
space without protruding outward
yeah.
or inward.
But then, there was also, isn't that glass kind of tempered or something?
Yeah, it's I forget what they call it. It's not tempered, but there's some fancy word.
Yeah. If I remember right, from the construction guys looking at that, they indicated that the only reason we would want to take the whole thing out would be if it was breaking down. Like if you get in there behind,
I mean, that's fine. I just
breaking down, but we can ask the question. Yeah.
Thank you much. Any other questions?
Good night, man.
Be safe.
Have a good one.
Hi, thank you.
Safety security report.
I'd like to report this month, just some updates on the silent panic alert technology. That has been installed. We're looking at rolling that out to the teachers at the beginning of the year, so that they'll have that tool at their fingertips. As far as the windows, the shatterproof resistance glass, they've replaced the last caulker. So they brought their expert caulker in, and basically he's going back and redoing a lot of the campuses. I know he was at Barrow and he was having to redo a lot of stuff. So
He took it all off. He took all the
it was
old
pretty
off.
bad. Oh, yeah, I walked the campus. I said, look,
It was so bad.
and they finally go, yeah, you're right. They said they'll make it right, so they've been making it right. So we probably won't be done before school starts, but we're getting to a point where we think we're getting close. What else? Bullhorns.
I was getting ready to ask that.
Bullhorns work at Vero. We're all good there. They've identified the problem at West Brazos Junior High. That's taken a couple, well, they were going to come out before the storm, but that got delayed. They're going to come and rewire, basically, pretty much rewire all the horns at the junior high. So they'll have that going before the start of the school year. We anticipate, and then the last thing is, which came on after y'all had approved this money last year, was the high school. We're pretty sure that there was a line cut at some point, but we need that bullhorn fixed, particularly in the cafeteria. So they're going to go ahead and have them look at that, get that going. So that's where we are there. The only other thing is the campuses should be completing. Matter of fact, this week they're required to send me their exterior door audits for the summer. I've received the majority of the campuses. That's a requirement for TA. They're required to do that twice a year. We always do one in the summer. Just some other things, working on the emergency operation management plan. We'll be sending that out to the campuses so they can have that material to go over with their staff when we come back here in a couple weeks. Other than that, we did have to the chief did reach out to me and said that due to the hurricane, it probably would be wise to cancel. We were scheduled to have our summer safety security committee meeting tomorrow, but just due to things going on and people being way extended, that it would probably be a good idea to put that off. So I sent that email out today. So we'll look at probably doing that sometime middle of August or end of August, once hopefully things calm down. There's not any other storms. So that's all we have. Chief didn't have anything to report this month on your report. So he told me not to even turn around and look at him.
Sound like a plan. Instructional report?
All right, so you're blessed to hear me do the instructional report this month. I'll try to keep this short and sweet. If you look in, not your packet, but I put this on top for you. It says CBISD dual credit data. Out of your generosity, or thank you for your generosity, years ago you decided to pay for dual credit for our students up to 8 hours per semester. You extended that this summer, and this will be the first summer that we're having students that we're paying for students to take dual credit over the summer as well. So what I did was I put the data down for this year, basically dual credit data for this year, simple to the point, short, so you can see what you're paying for, okay? So if you look at this page that has the spreadsheet on the front, it says CBISD dual credit data, essentially where you see the first term, so in the fall of 2023, so last fall, we had 158 students, that's unduplicated students, meaning 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 158 students that took a dual credit class at Columbia High School, okay? Of those 158 students, they signed up for 265 sections of courses at Columbia High School. So in the fall, in the main fall semester, in the 11-week semester, we had 265 dual credit classes being taken at Columbia High School. Of those classes, you can see the number of A's, B's, C's, F's, and W's. The W's stand for withdrawals, broken down by the percentages there. And then from that, you can see the grade classification of the students that were enrolled in those classes in that session. So you see that you're roughly looking at 40% seniors, 40% juniors, et cetera, et cetera. And if you look down at the data, it's kind of crazy how it stays pretty consistent throughout. We even pay for courses. If a student wants to take a course in a mini-mester, meaning from the time we get out of school, or actually college ends a week before we get out for Christmas, usually, you can turn around on that Monday and take a mini-mester, meaning over Christmas holidays you're taking a class. We had 17 kids sign up for that. That took 17 different sections, and you can see that the results from that, you had 88% of them make an A, and 12% of them made a B. And you had that spread out. You had all different grade classifications take that opportunity. In the main spring semester, the 11, we had 159 students enrolled, which is kind of weird. You look based on where you are as far as fall to spring. You would think the numbers would go up in the spring because usually you have freshmen or sophomores. But at the same time, you also have seniors saying, no, I don't really want to take any more. So, if you look, you had 243 sections, 52% A's, 23% B's, 12% C's, and then your failures and withdrawals represented about 13%. And then finally, in your mini-mester, you can see the stats there. Not too many in the spring mini-mester, which is essentially the second week, when you might be able to help me, second week of May to the end of May, essentially, right? Beginning of May, basically the month of May. It's pretty tight. By that time, they've checked out, so we don't really have a lot of kids. But the mini-mesters are great opportunities for kids to get ahead. If you look down at the bottom, you'll see the 23-24 school year total. You had 340 unduplicated students enroll in a class. Out of 190, out of 900 kids, you had a third of your population that took a dual credit class. That's pretty cool. Okay. Duplicated course sections, you had 531 opportunities. And then you can see the A's, the B's, the C's, the F's, and the withdrawals. And then you have it broken down by grade classification as well. We're running, if you look at the fall and the spring, you had between your failures and your withdrawals, you were at about 18%. And then in the spring, you were at 13%. Now the withdrawals, that you have an opportunity to withdraw. There's no grade there. However, there's still a cost there, so we're still on the hook for some of those withdrawals. Yeah, unless they do it before a certain time, which very seldom that happens. It's, I'm going to fail. This is my last date to withdraw.
But when that happens,
But when that happens, they're not allowed to take dual credit until A, they reimburse us, and 2, they get in good standing. If a kid fails, they fail. We don't require them to reimburse us because they made an opportunity. They just can't take dual credit on our dime any longer until they get back into good status. And then there has to be a conversation. There's a process. Not to say they can't ever do it again, but there's a process.
So you're saying that if they fail the class, they're not in good standings?
That is correct.
And then they got to reimburse us?
If they fail, they don't have to reimburse us.
Okay, but
If they withdraw, they do have to reimburse us because they didn't try to complete the course.
so what is not in, if they fail, what is not in good standings?
Not in good standing,
Yeah, that's what I
you're
thought.
not allowed to take dual credit.
Okay.
What type of things do they have to do to get back in?
Yeah,
You have to pass all your classes, and then there has to be a convert. You have to get back to passing all your classes, because usually if they failed the dual credit class, they also failed something else.
Yep.
You have to be back in good standing for at least a semester, and then that conversation has to occur between them and the high school principal. And then once you fail again, then you're done. We're not going, usually we've run out of time anyways, so.
Do you have stats as far as failures? Is that usually sophomores,
Actually,
seniors,
no.
or is it pretty much scattered across
It's
everything?
scattered, and the majority of your failures are, and Mr. Galloway and Mr. Kinney's heard me complain about this, are in your kids that take the introductory course, and we'll get to that in a minute on the back. But the gateway course for all the dual credit is a course they call Learning Frameworks, which is essentially how to be successful in college, and teaches time management, learning skills, study habits, those types of things. And we have more people fail that class than we have any other class, and they simply fail that class because they do absolutely nothing. Because really, that is the only way to fail that class is to literally do absolutely nothing. So that's, and then you do have seniors that fail because a lot of time, many of the seniors don't reach, because there are eligibility rules to take dual credit. There's certain things you have to be able to do in order to take dual credit classes. And they don't reach that until their senior year, and so they try to double up. They take Learning Frameworks and an English, and the dangest thing, they pass English and fail Learning Frameworks. So,
Does the English count if they fail that?
the English does count. You get credit. It goes on, and that's the other thing. It credits as a high school credit, but it also they have a Brazosport College transcript too. So, and then at some point, if they fail too much, the college just says, you're academically suspended. You're not taking any more dual credit classes. And we have a great
Do
relationship.
they have to take that frameworks class if they take another class or because they passed a college class?
The frameworks class counts as an elective, so it's how it plugs into your, now, we have a lot of seniors that will take dual credit English first semester, and they realize that's a little bit more than I want to do. And then what we do on the back half is we put them, they say, I don't want to do it again, so we put them in a regular English 4 second semester course, and they combine for the English 4 credit. So, a lot of, the big, well, if you flip over to the back page, you'll see the number of the courses that were offered at Columbia High School this year. I'm not going to go through all of them. You'll see it's a pretty substantial list. I just wanted to point out the most popular. If you look at down about 3/4 down, Psych 1300, that's our Learning Frameworks class. You'll see that we had 107 students that took that class this year. That's the most popular class because that's the gateway class. Second most popular class, if you go up, is English 1301. 53 students took that class. You don't have to be a senior to take English 1301. So we do have juniors that do. Sometimes you'll have juniors second semester that'll sign up to take that class just to get ahead and maybe take the second part in the summer. It's funny, if you look at English, if you look right below that, English 4A to English 4B, you can see the number of seniors. Not all of them are seniors, but the majority of them are. They say, I've had enough of this. Second semester, I'll just take regular high school. And then our third most popular course is down at the very bottom, is speech, fundamentals of speech. That's a popular course, very important course. Kids are pretty successful in that. Again, the only way you really fail that class is if you do nothing, which we have kids that do nothing. And then you have your federal government course, which is a senior. If you look below that, since we've started, we always had a problem what to do on the back, because that federal government class is a semester class. We always had problems, but since we've started doing the study hall thing and doing online, you'll see below that, a lot of the kids are starting to take Texas government, which does count if they go to a public Texas school as a credit, because you have to, that's what they call core complete, which I may have to do another instructional report on what that means and tie it to this at another time. But if you transfer to a Texas public school, you're required as a core to have federal government and Texas government. So it's a perfect fit. And we've got a lot of those kids starting to take those. And then the last thing I wanted to point out, which is a positive, is if you look at the orange, we've never had kids take math dual credit since we had Miss Benin years ago that was taught it on campus. We had, 11 and 6, 17 kids sign up to take math classes dual credit. That's online. Tough to take a math class online. Every single one of them were successful, and a lot of them made A's. So we're starting to get that ball rolling, which is a great thing. It helps us accountability-wise. The last thing I want to show you is your investment. You look at the bottom of the first page. Now this, I will tell you this, things changed last legislative session, and that the funding mechanism for the colleges changed. They're now allowed to, basically if a kid qualifies for free and reduced lunch for us and they take dual credit, they're called FAST students on the higher education level, and we don't pay their tuition anymore. When we started this program, we had gotten up to paying $100,000 a year. The last 2 years, because of that program, our cost has been cut in half. So you'll see that first semester we paid about $22,000 in the fall, and in the spring we paid about 20 and a half for a grand total of 42. And then some of that money, if they're CTE students, if they're taking PTAC classes or any of those types of classes, that's funded out of CTE. Almost PTAC. PTAC, process technology.
So if they're free and reduced, is that just through our programs for the, like dual credit programs? Or is that for any student entering a school anywhere?
I'm not following your question.
That's all Texas kids.
Yeah, that's for everybody. It's,
So like if a kid they don't do any dual credit, they just want to go to college, they were free and reduced, they can get free tuition.
it has to be within the last 3 to 4 years. 4 years, I believe.
Dual credit.
Yeah.
This is dual credit.
This is for
Oh,
dual
just
credit.
dual credit,
Yeah.
yeah, that's.
The money that y'all chose to invest has been spent wisely. Going to online, just so you know, the only classes that are offered on campus at Columbia High School is dual credit welding, which is offered first thing every morning. Jay Barr comes from, which is one of our community members, is also a teacher at the college, comes here and teaches our kids, and then he goes to Sweeney, teaches their kids, and then he goes back to the college. And then we have a Wednesday night, usually Tuesday night, Learning Frameworks class on campus, which is offered to the community at large. And we have some of our students that sign up to take that class. The only other face-to-face classes are the kids we bus every day that are the Catalyst kids. We bus them to the college. They have face-to-face instruction at the college from 7 to 11 every day, depending on their schedule. And we bring them back. Everything else is done online. So, and our failure rate has been lower than when we were bringing teachers on campus and doing it face-to-face. So, and it creates freedom scheduling for Jeff and his staff. It's weird. Remember when that building flooded and the design was, we want to see kids working? You can go in there during the day and you'll see 20 kids in there working on their college. It's pretty interesting to see. Now you'll see kids in there not working on their college, but you'll see.
Failure column.
But I will tell you, there are, and it's not always, but we have had students that were unsuccessful, got back into good standing, or we had a kid, just like last year alone, we had a kid failed or withdrew from a U.S. history class first semester. We made a deal with him. He said, if I sign up and pay for my class over the mini-mester to get back in good standing, to pass that class, will I be in good standing for second semester? He did it, he passed, and it worked out. So not all kids. And there's other things we haven't figured out. There's a lot of times I say a kid fails a class because they don't do anything. Well, what's going on? Did they lose a job? Do they not have internet access? That's why we provide them with study hall classes so that they don't have an excuse. They have time and they have internet and they have the resources they need to help them be successful. So.
That's awesome.
What's the criteria for a student to qualify for dual credit?
So basically, for any class other than science or math, you have to have a qualifying score on either the TSI, the SAT, or the ACT. We start testing our junior high kids. We start testing them in the TSI in 8th grade, and we've had many, including my kid, that have taken dual credit over the summer. We don't pay for dual credit for the 8th grade kids, technically because they're not high school students yet. But you have to pass TSI, SAT, ACT, the reading section. Once you've done that, everything other than math and science opens up for you to take. Okay? Once you pass, now there is a exception to that, and that's you have to perform a certain score on the STAR English 2 test. If so, after the end of your sophomore year, you take STAR English 2 and you score, I think it's above 4,000, then you're exempt from the TSI requirement and you're allowed to take dual credit. For math and science, you have to score a certain level on the math TSI test or the math SAT, ACT. So, and that's the one that kids struggle. They can't get into the math. And Cody knows because he proctors it. They can't get into the math classes because they struggle with the math TSI and the math SAT, ACT. It's hard. Which we all know that the College of Math and Science is hard. But we're seeing those numbers go up, which means those kids this year, and Miss Bailey's not here, we tested We tested, I said, hey, let's do something different. And it was her idea. She said, I want to test the geometry honors kids, which are our freshmen. They're freshmen. We gave them the TSI test, and I wanted to say we had 40 kids pass. So now they're eligible to take dual credit science, math, if they ever choose to do so. They may never choose to do it, but they're eligible to.
So several years ago, you're talking about the TSI test. At one given point, Razosport College was proctoring that for us. We would have to go through Razosport College every time. We've actually become our own testing site. So we can test a kid.
Cody proctors those tests as well.
We can test a kid every day if we want to.
And sometimes we do.
Yeah.
Because it also, TSI is also a STAR exemption as well.
The last 2 months of the year are literally, I'm over at the high school the whole time, about 2 months. I spend my time over
Between industry certification tests and SAT school day and TSI, it's nonstop for Cody.
It's fun.
And one of the other things, if you'll remember, when we were talking about planning, we will have a full-time 5-day-a-week dual credit counselor. We have, since 2000, we have shared a dual credit counselor with.
As long as I've been in the district, so 18 years.
They were only here 2 days a week, swinging 2 days a week to college 1. And so we're going from 2 days to 5 days a week. As you can see what's going on here, we got to have somebody that has major responsibility for that, because this is a lot of stuff to add to what we already do, right? And speaking to Mr. Champagne's point, you got to be a good discipline standing in school.
Correct. Yeah, those intangibles are there as well, meaning you have to come to school.
You have to be passing classes.
You have to be passing your, that's the first thing. Well, number one, you got to meet the TSI. You got to meet the college's requirement to get in, which is the testing requirement. Number two, you got to be passing. Number three, you can't be a discipline issue. Number four, you have to come to school. And those are the issues. Those are the things that we look at as far as, do you qualify to take dual credit?
Good. Any questions or comments? Thank you so much, sir.
Good report, good information.
Yes, thank you.
Very nice. Nice to see positive things with our students like that. Is there a financial report with everybody? Okay. So, on 22 report?
Just kind of covered it, with the rain, we're kind of, things have moved to a point where even when it's raining, they're working somewhere. We had a construction meeting today, and some people were asking, and I'm like, listen, the hurricane blew through on Monday, and at 8 o'clock Tuesday morning, they were putting brick on the wall. So if you're asking whether people are working, that's happening. And so given the fact that a lot of the roofing is done, like today when it rained hard for about 3 hours here, that equipment's going in and out, in and out, in and out. They're working somewhere now. So moving on pretty good. The weather has them set back a little bit, but as of today, they think the schedule still holds true of end of November for the gyms, and then basically early next summer for the rest of the buildings. And today, one of the things we talked about, we basically probably ordered over $1 million of furniture today. That's included, and we have to have a hard move-in date, right? Because as of right now, we're the first one to the rodeo, and so we get a date, but if we have to change that date, we become the last one to the rodeo, right? And so we had meetings, and we scheduled it on purpose like that, back to back. And so we're probably looking at a mid-June, being able to move furniture, which gives us all of July. So things are playing out nicely for there to be a smooth transition to open the actual buildings for the next school year.
Thanks.
Unless you have any specific questions,
That's exciting.
yeah, it is. It is.
Things.
Yeah.
Was it in your weekly letter? was it the air conditioners we ordered that we was wondering about shipping, that they've been shipped, that we wrapped? There was some piece of equipment that.
So, yeah, the last time we met, we had 2 chillers that were in customs and companies from Mexico, and they were held up, and we were concerned. Because what's happened is, if you can see where the chiller used to be, all that's been knocked down. There's actually new concrete for a new chiller yard, and it sits between the ag shop and the bistro. And so there'll be 3 chillers there. 2 of them are new, 1 of them's the existing one. All 3 were disconnected, the one we had was disconnected and laid down in the yard here. Big crane, biggest crane I've ever seen in my life. Moved it over. The 2 new ones showed up, got put here. The concrete was poured. This week, yesterday, that big crane came back, moved the 2 of them back over. Those will be the 2 that will focus on here. The 3rd one will actually be put in the ag shop and hooked in to run the gym when we open in November, and then it'll be moved back into the chiller yard. So it'll kind of be a temporary flow until, anyway, things are where they need to be right now. All of C building and the admin area had been without power, right? Because we had to cut it off due to new transformer tie-in. Hurricane hits, right? Power comes back on, then we immediately have to turn it off to do the switch over. Texas, Mexico says, look, the hurricane in place, right? You're not important anymore. So, meaning we wanted to turn it off on one, in the morning and then turn it back on. And it was 3 or 4 days before they got back, but it's back today. And so as of right now, they're working on pulling wire and duct and things like that to get those 2 new chillers tied in. And so as of right now, we're looking at, it's probably going to be up Monday, August 5th, which our teachers come back Thursday, August 1st. So on the 1st to the 2nd, Jeff's going to have half of his building that has AC and half of his building that doesn't. And so he's already worked on the plan. He's going to keep them tied up in trainings where they're not in their room for those first 2 days, but then give them that time later on to be able to get in there. But schedule-wise, that's a huge piece to being able to get this building ready to open the gym in November, that tie-in, so. But we're looking good. It may be a day, we don't have any slack time, but it's better to deal with that problem now than not open the building on time. So.
And what's the first day of classes?
15th.
Okay. Thursday, August 15th.
Good deal. Any other reports?
Yes.
We're going to go down to action items. We're going to go down number 4 first. We'll approve the secondary lunch price increases.
Ms. King?
Go ahead and go first.
Every year we have to do a PLE tool, which is called Paid Lunch Equity. It comes from the Department of Agriculture. And what it is every October is a snapshot that we have to take. A snapshot means we have to record all the lunches, all the breakfasts, everything. And we do the students too, verification of the students that month. October is the month. Where they go back, they ask you to write in how many lunches you had for the month of October. So when you put your lunches in, whichever you was charging the price for your lunch, say $3.20, it tells you if you need to go up on your lunches. They said, we were saying about the prices of the food and stuff is so high now, they said we need to go up at least 30 cents. So we don't make it the agriculture. That's how they do it to find out if you need to bring up your lunches and stuff. And so that showed us that we need to go up 30 cents. The good thing about it is, like, all the elementary schools are eating free breakfast and lunch. And I found out that even West Branches and the high school, if their kids are on reduced lunch, it's gonna be free again, this year again. So, but the lunches will have to go up to $3.50. So, it's just something that we do every year. We have to do this. We haven't been up in a while, at the high school in, West Francis Junior High
So,
in a
see,
couple of years.
let me get this right. CEP program, all elementaries, free breakfast, free lunch, everybody,
For the elementaries,
for the elementaries.
Right.
Junior high and high school.
right?
If a kid qualifies for free, gets free,
Mm-hmm.
breakfast and lunch.
Not at the junior high, not at the junior high and the
I
birth.
said free.
Yeah, free.
If they're
Yeah,
free,
if they free,
qualify
yeah.
free, they
Yeah.
get free.
Yes,
If they're reduced, you said at the junior high, if they're reduced, they will get free. Breakfast and lunch?
no, just
Just
free
breakfast.
Breakfast.
And at the high school too, if they don't reduce, they'll get free.
The reason that's important is that we're gonna work on a Wendy's gonna work on a press release
They put out
after this to put out about everything that's going on lunch, and we need to clearly explain everything.
Yes.
Because if we just put out one piece, they're not gonna explain it all.
Yeah, okay,
We gotta explain the difference between CEP, what the
Yes.
board's done, how much we expect it to cost us, right? It's out of the board's pocket, we're using taxpayer money to pay it, that type of thing.
So this is something different than what we approved.
Yes, yes. This is, if we hadn't done the CEP program for the elementaries, we probably would have been talking about elementary lunch prices too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's the Department of Agriculture who would get our refund, our
Yeah.
money back from fast.
I would assume that means if we're gonna pay you, we expect you to raise this much money.
Yeah, that's what you always said,
Yeah.
And
they set our prices based off of their
Yes.
statistics and what we
Yes,
need to
sir.
do.
Yeah,
And this is just lunches, correct?
Yeah.
Just lunches?
Just lunch.
That breakfast will stay the
breakfast
same.
still the same.
So we go from $3.20 to $3.50.
Correct.
Any questions or comments? I make a motion, we approve the 24-25 lunch price for the junior high and the high school at $3.50.
I'll second.
Second by Becky, all in favor? Any opposed? That carries. We want to thank you for all that you and your staff do. When we was looking at the CPE program and looking at all the statistics and how we kind of bounced back this year and did a lot better in the food services. Credit you and your staff for doing that. And I know Mr. Galloway, when he did the CEP program to us, said that some of the things that we have to do to try to watch food and how much we prepare and stuff like to try to do it. So I know you're on top of it, and I just wanted to thank you and your staff for all that you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Next is to approve the meeting date of August 20th to discuss and adopt the 2024 tax rate.
Yeah, there's no explanation other than that.
Yeah, pretty basic. By then, we have our certified values, we have
Correct.
whatever we get from the state, and then
Correct.
she does her calculation and comes up with what our, and then we have to do our posting, I guess, to put that on it. I'll make a motion, we approve the meeting date of August 20, which I guess that's our regular meeting date?
Yes.
Okay. To discuss and adopt the 24 tax rate.
I'll second.
Second by Ray, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Name a delegate and alternate to the 24 TASB Delegate Assembly.
I nominate James and Jackie.
I'll second that.
Don't ever miss a meeting in July.
I'll keep that in mind.
So you want Jackie to be first and James to be alternate? Is that what your motion is?
Sure.
I'll second that motion. All in favor? Any opposed? That carries.
Is everybody's schedule clear to go to that?
James is going, I know.
I thought there was a conflict.
I won't be there.
So you're not going at all then?
Saturday.
Okay, speaking of that, today was go day. So Jennifer at 9 o'clock this morning got everyone registered. So me, Chris, and Julie, and then all of the board. And we also have hotel rooms for Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night at La Quinta again, same place we were there the last time. So Ray, you're not going to be there?
No, I will not be there.
Okay, so there's one we can take care of.
And then I won't need a room Saturday night.
I will need room Saturday night. Wednesday at 4 o'clock is what Wade told me.
So we'll probably just have to.
So we'll leave probably 11-ish or something and come back or 10-ish.
10-ish, 9-ish.
I'll go to a couple of classes and
Driving or
come back.
taking a plane?
I told you, it's
Or both?
245 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
11 minutes.
When you're gonna have your clothes, we'll just drive straight to the wedding, and Jason can pick up Anita and take her and stuff.
Can y'all plan that later? We're having a board meeting.
You said, James said he was going, Jackie said that she's free because she doesn't have son playing football anymore, so she was.
I think they'll check with her because I think she said she couldn't go Thursday, maybe. I don't think she was there the whole time.
Okay. We'll get with her.
Well, that meeting's not till Saturday.
It's easier to get all the rooms and take them away.
Exactly right. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
You won't be sleeping down at the Motel 6.
That's right.
Number 3, consider endorsing the candidacy of nominated individual for the TASB board.
Yeah.
No, just.
There's someone recommended in here.
Yeah, so, Friendswood, I'm trying to pick it up.
Tony Hopkins.
Yeah, Tony Hopkins from Friendswood is the only letter I have received. He sent it to me, and I think he's emailed it to your CBISD board account. But I think the letter's attached in there asking for our, but I haven't received anything else from anyone else.
I don't have an issue with that.
Yeah, I had, there is, I want to say, is there 3 or 4 Region 4 positions? Only heard from Mr. Hopkins. I think one of them's vacant and it lists the other people, but again, I haven't. So if you're going to ask my recommendations, I would.
Mr. Hopkins is the only one running. Someone had against him, which is Kelly Hodges. I don't know her, so at least he reached out. So I'm in agreement that we
Support
him. So I make a motion, we approve supporting Tony Hopkins as the nominating nation for the TASB Board of Directors.
I'll second it.
Second by Lynn, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Next is the consent agenda, which is to approve the minutes from prior meetings. We had 3 meetings. To approve the 24-25 teachers appraisal calendar and appraisers, and approve the child nutrition co-op vendors for 24-25. Would anybody like any of those pulled? If not, I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Second by Ray, all's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Do we have anything else we need for?
No, sir.
Okay. We will adjourn to the closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code, the Open Meeting Act, Section 551.074, to consider the employment of professional personnel, discuss the resignation, retirement of professional personnel, discuss the performance of personnel. We will look at the superintendent and board goal settings for 24-25. We will reconvene open meeting and consider actions on items discussed in closed session. Thank y'all so much.